Welcome to the Mind Sensei podcast. I'm your host, Peter Taz, and I'll be taking you on a journey to the world of martial arts and introduce listeners to some of the most aspiring and knowledgeable practitioners from around the world. Whether you're a seasoned martial artist or a curious beginner, or just enjoy hearing a great story, the Mind Sensei podcast Down Under has something for everyone. So tune in, sit back, and let us take you on a journey through the world in martial arts.
One of the things I truly believe about Kenpo, which is we all respect with Kenpo because I love Kenpo, but I think that the method had nothing to do with the system, and that is something I be very careful when I teach what I teach today. There's one thing is teaching the syllable that everybody kind of like quite know, and the other thing is teaching the method, and that's something that is got to be quite to understand and separate. One of the system of Kenpo will teach every element that something, but the way how you're going to administrate in the system. And that is something that American art need to put their emphasis more in how you're going to use the system, what type of method you're using in order to teach the system. In my opinion, that's what I found in all my teaching all this year. There are four elements that need to be you need to consider it. And I call the functional statement of Kempo. There's four things because we got to understand, we got to define what's American Kempo is. You define American Kempo from the Japanese perspective, you're going to see one part of the art. If you define American Kempo from the Chinese martial art, you're going to see one aspect of Kempo. You want to see American Kempo from Kuguro, from a weaponry system, you're going to see one aspect of Kempo. If you want to see more from the manipulation type of art, which involve jiu-jitsu, aikido, aikijitsu, and so forth, you're going to see one part of the one aspect of the art. But we need to understand American Kenpo is for excellence is a striking art. American Kenpo for definition is a rapid fire art. American Kenpo it's you multiple strike. You in American Kenpo when you see them from four, for example, and they got the form called empicata. And when you see empicata, what you see is how Shotokan karate works. When you see empicata, is the revelation of the art. When you see empicata, you see how Shoto work. If you want to see how American Kenpo works, you got to see Long Fong 4. And Long Fong 4, what one of the element does is you parry, you poke it in the eye, and you kick it down. Three or four things at once, there's something this form try to tell you. So for definition, American Kenpo is a rapid fire art that we cover three-dimensional stage. You're looking for multiple weapons and multiple targets. That is American Kenpo. That's what's American Kenpo is unique from other arts because American guess what American Kenpo is. So in my opinion, there are four elements that need to be very well defined and very well structured and very well teaching in order to use in the system in a good method and a very effective method is number one is body alignment, which entitle many other things, foundation, your stances, your balance, and many other things. Body alignment, body contour, which entitle how you travel with your offense and defensive move. Do not overextend yourself for any reason. When for example, in American Kenpo, we teach you blocking sub one, we teach you two things, quadrant zones and outer ring theory. And those teaching those two things student to not overextend himself, work in perimeter, and not overpassing lines. So everything pretty much is working through the center line. So when we're using body contour, that either you're using your hand or your body, your weapon, your body, the silhouette of your body to travel through your own self to connect in the target or to connect in target. When we connect in immediately in the line, we can select right away in a very efficient way the target. Number three, everybody talk about it, but not quite many people in Kenpo use it. It's when, like I said, when Bruce Lee introduced 1 inch punch, which one of the three elements in my term, I don't know if you when introduced the third element they use in my functional statement, the fourth functional statement, but number three, the point of origin. When Bruce Lee introduced that, I was amazed by that, and everybody was, wow, that's almost a magic. And obviously, over year, Parker, the the science is the science involved, and now today we know how this very close range distant weapon can connect in so hard and the target is we the sign, the back mass, the point of origin, the forward momentum, and many other elements that make the impact strong and powerful in the target. So point of origin, I think it's quite element because never overextend ourselves in order, like for example, for one, obviously we teach in blocking coming from the high point of origin. I understand, way to teach in the high point of origin. And then we got middle point of origin when you do pushing block and low for one. And obviously you do inside angle block palm down for low point of origin and try to teach the three level of where your hand could be. So the high, the middle, and the low. I understand that. The problem is sometimes when you teach the weapon, you never quite the benefit of point fighting of origin. On the point of origin, it's basically you place power to the point. So in order to make this more effective, more practical, and more useful, definitely we need to emphasize the information in that. So, like for example, delay sword is one of the most critical. And bring the hand up here and cut from top in order to create power because you're using high point of origin when we know the grab is here. So the question is why you bring this in is when you trouble all that. Obviously, we understand when you create in distance, the amount of power you're using, it's very impressive and very hard. Let's be more practical. If your hand is down, by the time you pull up, you're not telegraphic some move, obviously. So when you're stepping back and you pin in check, again at the same time, the stepping back actually is creating enough distance and power. The stepping back is in power, doesn't need to go quite hammered. You do still hammered, but you do more hammered in the thrusting way. Even though we know we have some methodology there of striking, we got a hammering, we got a thrusting, reaping, ploughing, rounds, etc. But what the element American Kenpo actually is good at, it's power the hand, whatever this is. So if your hand is down here, you don't need to elevate your hand in order to strike because you're using already 3 point of contact. And that point of contact definitely is going to take some time. So my definition of that need body alignment, body contour, point of origin, and the one creating such amazing dynamic is understanding the opposite and reverse the return motion that creating amazing dynamic in the art. So when you putting together every element in the teaching, all my methodology actually using the 4 elements in order to teach either from the white belt all the way to black belt. It doesn't matter what belt you are, we always start from the same. Remember, the white belt, they don't know any better. So why to teach later on and teach another art? So most of the time we teach a student coming from here, but later on when they turn brown belt, it's okay, now we're gonna do from here. So when there's a lot of things that I teach my students, it's I explain it, I break it down, I don't reinforce as a physical training because sometimes those physical training created by habits that later on is that so much long time to erase from the system that teach something new. So that's one of the things very important in my method. It's adding those 4. Keeping in mind, we got to define what's American Kenpo is. And if this rapid fire, that's one of the things that made me amazing when I see Tatum the first time. It's like how he connect. Even Parker, when you see old footage of Parker, uh, he was flying and obviously he got the element at some point the element of Kenpo, the system will tell you there. But we got to be careful how we teach because I understand every teaching at every level, every information teaches something very specific about the art. Yes, but I believe in my understanding, there's some information we mention, we teach, we explain, and other information we actually execute it to not create bad habits. It takes so long to remove people. My student, for first generation student, all they're coming for here. When you see my new generation students, everybody's kind of like using the center line. So you see the difference from my old generation student and my new guys. And the question always is, why those guys they're doing better than us? It's once again because the way I used to teach, I used to go with the seal of A, B, C, D all the way through and make it repeated and coming again and bring the hand here and cut backs again. So I obviously over the year, what I develop in my own, and I see the observation I see all this year in my teaching, definitely this need to change. And methodology today is using the same art. Don't get me wrong, I'm American Kenpo. It's the same. I teach it the form, the sets, the freestyle, and everything. But of the emphasis is way different from what I used to. So once again, if we understand American Kenpo's rapid fire, something we need to define, and that's the way we need to teach the art. What I do in my camp.
So, have you studied any other arts, and what are your thoughts on training? Because there's a prevalence of ground fighters now, learning ground. Do you incorporate any in your teaching?
No, actually, you won't say that Kempo result and the best system in the world. It's all dependent on the individual. But think it this is my opinion, and I guess in every in gotta become good in what you know. And like Mr. Tatum said, this is clever. He always said, "You are the rank in what you know best. You're 7th degree in what you know best. You 5th degree, you 5th degree." Think necessary. I don't have nothing against jiu-jitsu, any other art. When you really and truly you understand you are, in my humble opinion, you don't need another art. You ask any jiu-jitsu, we always see the crossover from Kenpo go to jiu-jitsu. You never see a jiu-jitsu go to Kenpo because they feel very secure about this. They feel like very put the emphasis in their training so much and they believe so much in what they do, they don't feel like they need anything else. When you convince that your art itself, I think you don't need another art. With all respect, every martial artist in the world, I think what you need to observe is develop your art and take all the way through and see all the potential that your own art can offer, and you will find a lot of answers. And I think you're gonna ultimate see things that you might feel that you miss it. It's in the art already. I feel American Kenpo offer that potential to become good in pitch and distance, ground, high, middle, low. But, I think you don't need nothing else when you starting that very deep in your. I don't think you need anything else, in my opinion.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about organisation. You started with Vigoroux Kenpo Karate Studios, and then it evolved into international academies. Um, inspired you to start teaching independent Kenpo schools globally.
Well, every time start again for the necessity of my students, people came to training here and they feel like they want to be part of something. They want to have an instructor. They want to be under some type of umbrella that make me feel like I think this is the time that turn just one studio into an association. I try to be political, definitely not selling rank either. The idea is to spread the campus, spread the word, and bring something positive and the opportunity to many that never had the opportunity to train under anybody. So it's in other words, it's given life offered to me at some point, and that's pretty much my association is. It's a profit organization. Obviously, I can say it's not fee, but it's the money is not quite what was originated for in the beginning. The idea is bring something positive, help people, and in the martial arts, another place where you're gonna be millionaire. So I'm not looking here to obviously money of it. Definitely I wanna bring something back and I wanna impact the community. I wanna help others. I wanna really and give information that people it's quite missing whatever they are. And give opportunity even people that coming from different places, from different organizations. given opportunity to be part of something positive, something that to a different stage in the training and the life and with the things, for example, actually we don't because I don't want to call like people think it's a cold organization, but and talk about God and those part of my life too. So sometimes we start with praying, and sometimes we have people that come in just for about life, and it's not necessarily need to be a campo every time. I think as a leader, I think it will become mentor in many aspects in people life, and sometimes people feel like something spiritual might be help them progressing in their camp and in their life as well. So my point here to creating this organization was more than just bring Campo up there or dictating about how Campo should be. This is my opinion about Campo. I've been thinking about it's free to how you wanna this art. And ultimately at the end of the day, everything it's in Campo, it's everything is the same. I'm not creating, I'm not trying to remake the wheel again. It's just to teach um an opportunity to learn the art. Many people up there that they're looking and they start to progress in the art. That's what Vigoroux International Academy affiliating to us. They're using the name, the brand in their country. We got a lot of them in South America, here in Boston, people that they're using the name and because they want to feel part of something. And obviously, I've tried to give in my best and this community, this organization in the best way they could.
Okay, so you've been inducted into the USA Hall of Fame a few times. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, actually, it's was a wonderful opportunity actually to be something big when that came. Actually, that was the first one was in got on the wall over there. That was in 2001 or two, something like that. That came the first nomination to the uh, USA Martial Art Hall of Fame. Actually, I believe this was one of the first one made by Master Robert Tria, and then one of his students. Because I think they start early in the 60s, and then in 1974, I think when they stopped, and then Dr. Thomas talk again, and he um, started redoing it again. And 20 years ago, more or less, I was nominated as a instructor year, and then a few years after, I was nominated again. Uh, it's great. I mean, I feel very honored to be part of that. Is not what the reason I do martial art. I feel like sometimes people touch your shoulder and you feel like motivated to continue. You feel like all this year something really worth in my life, and I feel you know try not touching my ego because it's not about that. I mean, I think I'm not doing martial art for a reward or for a Hall of Fame. I do Kenpo or I do martial. It's a great. I feel very accomplished, and I'm very honored to be part of the organization, the Hall of Fame. And thank you for people nominated back then. And I really encourage other people Hall of Fame because sometimes people feel like it's about money. It's very political. Well, it's all depend how you see, but it's very good. It works, and you put in the effort, or you put the energy, you put the experience, and you've been working so hard and diligent in the martial art, and somebody recognize that, it feels accomplished, and I think it's absolutely.
Okay. So Vigoroux International Academies is your organization. How do people join?
How people enjoy it?
What's involved in people joining?
It's very easy. We got an Instagram right now. You have Vigoroux Internationals right now. If you wanna follow us, we got on in Facebook. Actually, it's under my name, Vigoroux. Also, people can reach it, or you go to the Night Academy in New Jersey as well, so they can reach us, or the website, it's vigorux.org. People can reach us just want to help. We got a long distance student. Actually, we do a lot of work online. People come and start to student. Well, I wish you have a cape and fly to the country and be with them. But are using technology and today. We're using a lot of Zoom. We do a lot of Zoom classes with my people overseas, and we helping them and we provide a good amount of information for community. And like I said, people want to be part of that. Just they can go to our Instagram, Vigoroux Internationals, or my Facebook from Vigoroux, and they can actually get in through there, or my website, vigoroux.org, which actually will be a good source of reach to us. And once again, the idea it's never adding. We're not selling rank either. And I said to people, you want to learn this? Well, you got to put yourself together. You got to work hard, and we'll see what happens in the process. We are not here to promote people left and right with rank. We here for administrating good information in a decent campo and keep the flame alive and keep the standard of Kenpo. That's pretty much. I know many organizations do the same thing, and we try to help to keep the standard of Kenpo higher. That's pretty much the idea, ultimately.
So let's talk about, you got your own patch, your own crest. Let's talk a little bit about your crest. And
It works. It's been a good friend of mine. Actually, I got over here. A good friend of mine did, and I was searching first of all for the name for many years, and actually I come out with my finally using my last name, which is French from my heritage from my grandfather. And I was thinking, what's the name of the studios are going to be called? And so I'm looking for the budget here. And the idea using my last name is because my grandfather was an immigrant. I was an immigrant here in the United States. So I'll say, you know what? This would be a good way to up the family name up there and also give it the honor to grandpa for everything he did. He was running away from the Second World War and came from France to Chile. And that here pretty much was using the same element that you original Ed Parker patch. My dear friend who passed away, Frank, sorry, uh, a good dear friend from Venezuela who lived here. He used to live here in New York, actually passed away a few years ago, cancer. And he designed this phenomenal patch. The idea was put the flame on top, which represent my spirit that never die. Went through so many things, so many stories in my life, and that spirit never die. And they using my last name on top, obviously, and the element of the tiger and dragon that be using in the Ed Parker the logo. We put universal pattern, right, and we put half of the world there, to very symbolic because explain the how American Kenpo is very universal, and explain also the mastery of Kenpo and the scientific um, understanding what American Kenpo is. The character, Dragon Kenpo, and obviously the banana here it's Kenpo. I call my studio Kenpo more, but that is giving some roots with Kenpo, how a Kenpo start. And we got the fist from Mr. Parker first logo when it used to be called in a circle Kenpo Karate of America. So we try to put all the elements in beautiful. Actually, very unique because the my dear friend Andrew reggae singer. So it's amazing graphic designer and a great he's the face of a Rasta and transformed the Rasta face into a dragon. So when you see close the face and when you see pretty much, you know, it's Rasta dreadlocks transform into a dragon. That's very interesting. And they're using the element of yin and yang. That's why you see the tiger very circular and the top is very represent actually the yin and yang symbol. So this is pretty much, this patch born in 1997, 98, pretty much when we opened the first studio in New Jersey under my own name. So it's very symbolic and he did a great job. I love the patch. I'll send you one by the way.
so, what's your vision for the future of Vigoroux International Academies? What's your message to everyone? If you were not here, what would be your message to everyone?
Hopefully somebody can feel running this. I know I'm asking a lot because since El Parker passed away, IKK in a way died too, and everybody in a way found their own way, and which is natural. I'm not criticizing everybody; it's free to do the world, the art, and everybody in a way left. So it's hard to say. Hopefully, I can find somebody who keep running Vigoroux in the future if I disappear from this world. But if it's not the case, which most important is the lesson of life, it's what we left as a person, because at the end of the world, better doctor will come up. You're gonna have a better generation, better tempo, the strong people. The generation is coming now. They got more technology. The more remarkable one is coming in the physical. Definitely, it's a new generation. They're more ready than us, and they're more stronger and faster, probably. But there's something that I guess everybody want to leave is something more intangible, something that people still thinking that it was somebody who helped him or them to get opportunity in life. Hopefully, people that are coming to me at least can say Vigoroux was a good guy at the end, and that's what's important. Me as a person, that me as a martial artist, I think it most important is a spiritual value. If I tell you more about my story, that how my personal life took rounds in my life, we can be for days talking about that. And God truly saved me and give me another opportunity in life. So what I want to give it to the new generation is hopefully they can say, well, Vigoroux was the person who taught me values. He teach me how to pray, how to never give up in life, how to take a life one step at a time. Sometimes the new generation, especially, they feel they want to eat the world in one bite. Their life is one step at a time, and recognize in every regals in your life, God. And I think that we are creation of the Lord, and everything we do is because Him. Everything who we are and what we have is just because God is good. And that's what I want to give it as a message to the new generation. And I don't know what about Kenpo. Kenpo always going to evolve. Kenpo always going to change. New people is going to come and do new Kenpo, new way, new marks in Kenpo. So definitely, it's not what truly important is. I know the new generations can Kenpo, but my message to the new generation is never forget who you are, why you came here, and who you send you here. I think ultimately we are creation of God, and we are here because it's the Lord, because the ultimate sacrifice on the cross, it wasn't a coincidence, it was a reason. And we are here because Lord is good and He gave us opportunity. And I want to give that to people. Whatever you guys do, whatever you continue doing in your life, never forget who is God in your life. And even the word said, when you put God in the first place, He put you in the first place as well. So that is pretty much those two what I want to leave here. A true spiritual value. I think that's most important. I'm gonna give it the strength to pursue it. When people see my life and see what being done all this year, 34 years here in the United States, and walk in the path and continue and never give up. I think we leave a mark in this earth. I think that's something that I wish people can take. Even my daughter, you don't see my daughter too often, but I hope my daughter learn that from daddy, that never give up, always continue, never not taking a step back to moving forward. So that's most important.
Okay. Let's talk about memorable moments, and are there any famous people that you've met in your journey? And do you have any weird or funny stories you can share with us? You've got to have some funny ones and weird ones.
There's so many. Other thing that impacting people, it's gonna be my 34, 35 year here in the state in October. Actually, I came in October 28th. And one of the remarkable things that it's funny because we got the studio 20, almost years with the studio here in New Jersey. And believe it or not, no one of my students have opened a Kenpo studio. And we don't have anybody who ever have open studio. So that's kind of like funny, tacting, doing the community, but no one of my students having really open studios. Um, but something, it's all my students, or the majority of my students, they did something important in their life. We got an architect, and we got regular jobs people, but always doing something important in their life. I got a few students, there are immigrant officers. They were for ISIS. And I remember one day I came back from, I think from South America.
For ICE, I think you mean, not ISIS.
No,
From department, Rick.
or immigration. I got officers, students. I got enforcement. I got a few cops here in the town. in different towns. So I feel so proud of my student. They did something very significant in their life. But it's something that I got two students actually that were from immigration, and I always came back from South America, and I ended in Jordan F. Kennedy Airport. So I passed immigration. So I said, okay. So I took my luggage. I was walking away, and I heard this boy call me sir, like super. And I was like, oh gosh, my God, what I did now. So when I turned around, I heard this very demanding and very um strong from, and I know it was an officer. So I was like, oh my God. When I turned around, the guy was, hey, Sensei. It was one of my students. I was like, wow, my God, I got a heart attack. So that was kind of funny. But I've got so many stories and so many significant things to tell you from a student that, you know, sometime coming here and tell me, thank you so much for your teaching. And they do martial art now, but many of them. But that really, feel so proud for the work and the happen every martial artist that we impacting so much, so positive, the people that we teaching, that they take the lectures in the martial art, but they're taking the lesson as life lesson and they implement in the life. I think that's significant. That's very important. That happened to every people that you probably before. Now we impacting people and they take our lessons as life skills, and that's amazing. That's made my day and made me feel like, you're worth it. Definitely, this is worth it. Yeah.
So, advice would you have for someone wanting to start out in the martial arts?
American Kenpo is a very competitive uh, community, very hard. But whoever wanna do this, I give it this training, training, training. Be diligent in your training. Be effective in your training. Prepare. Especially if we people looking martial art as a sport, which ultimate martial art is not a sport. But if you're looking as a sport, prepare yourself with training. If you're looking yourself to finally be an instructor, you need to prepare yourself more and more. Not in the martial art per se, but also in other venues that are very important. In the intellectual part, it's very important. Not just being a regular instructor, but hopefully if he, the, you know, finally ended up as instructor, hopefully have another studies martial art because everything at the end of the day really count as an instructor. So hopefully prepare yourself in a very intellectual level as physical as well. We know most prepared instructors, we need a intellectually prepared instructor and also in the physical aspect as well. It's very sad when you see people in my generation overweight and people feel like they don't want to train anymore. And that's very sad. I think you always got to continue training yourself and always ready for, not for what could happen in the street, but to prepare for what eventuality might happen in your dojo as a teacher. I mean, explain things, but all the thing is doing, what you studied. I think that's very important. So I think a training, it's to be part of your life. You need to be very essential. As you eat, you training as well. It's part of your life. Training should be the of your life. Physical body needed and have the coordination, the muscle, prepare your bone, and so forth. That with sleeping well, eating well, you know, uh, as we need to be prepared. So that's what I recommend to the new generation who want to lead or who want to be in the campo, especially we need, the good instructor as well at the end.
So, if you had to impart some wisdom or have an inspirational quote for some of our listeners, what would that be?
Oh gosh. Um, I call here and if you see my studio and said I can do all things through Christ, who is my strength. Um, Sometimes got so much ego because obviously in martial art and sport at some level, we a lot, especially when you get the black belt and the martial art as a sport in the competition. Obviously, people you lot in the martial art and that because the ego kind of like start taking first place in your life. Um, but be careful when the ego start to control yourself. Always yourself. I think that's the message. Always humble yourself and don't forget who brought you here. And I'm saying who brought you here, I'm not referring to your parents. It's who decide ultimate to be here and there. It's God. So put your eye in the Lord and humble yourself. I think that is very important. One day we're here, tomorrow we can be down here. Always humble yourself. Absolutely.
And have you been featured in any books? And are there any books that you recommend for our listeners?
Yeah. Actually, I've been thinking too, because we gotta, I'm not the only one. All the instructor who do this full time, obviously, some things coming in you teaching and you thought, and you develop things that is a normal in to every instructor. And I got a lot of things. I do my notes, so hopefully at some point, gathering all this information and put it together and write something. I won't say a big book, but write something. I think it's something important that I vision in the art, and I think it's to spread to the role of Campo. And definitely at some point, I would like to collect all this information, all this note that I've been doing in the art and put them together in a very formal way in a book. And definitely I would love to do that. And I got a lot of things, even in my computer, and I got in my notes as well. And comment, sitting, and collecting all this information and do my definitely something I would like to do. We did actually in Spanish. Mr. Sergio Carlo Jodar, they put together this phenomenal book. It's called One Art and hidden information from 15 instructors in South America. And we all wrote something. It was like a 30 plus question, and we formulated and pretty much we wrote kind of like in a book with all those questions. So I'm part of that, the official book. Actually, it's you can that through Amazon. It's called 15 Expression Tempo. I can send the link. And that is the book. I'm part of it. But I would like to actually write my own. And actually, when I wrote that, I got a lot of information actually came in my mind and I left on my computer. So at some point, like I said, I would like to collect in all this and maybe write something that could be something important to set. Somebody's gonna read. Somebody's gonna be important too. So definitely at some point I will.
Are there any books that you recommend for our listeners?
Well, I like Mr. Lee Wiley books. He got a really the way he explained things and breakdown and he experienced with Parker and he owned, they're very significant. I think a good book. Oh gosh, name of the book.
Mr. Wed,
Yeah,
yeah, he's got the Compendium.
and Mr. Tatum wrote 3 books already. Actually, going to come out with the third one. So I highly recommend.
And for people interested in reaching out and talking to you and reaching out to train, etc., where can they reach you?
Like I said before, through Instagram, it's Internationals, Vigoroux Internationals, which they can follow us. They can reach us there from Vigoroux and Facebook, or they can go to our fan page, which is Vigoroux International Academies, New Jersey. You can follow there, or the website, vigoroux.org as our website. And reach there, for any information for seminar or classes or courses as well. We're more than happy to help.
Okay, I think that brings us to the end of our interview. So thank you, Mr. Frank Vigoroux, for joining us on the Mind Sensei podcast.
Thank you. It was a pleasure and honor to be with you and with the audience today in this phenomenal podcast. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. I'm your host, Peter Taz, and you've tuned in to the Mind Sensei podcast from Down Under. We want to take a moment to thank all our listeners for tuning in to the Mind Sensei podcast. We appreciate your support and hope our show has been both informative and entertaining for you. If you haven't already done so, we would like to invite you to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. By subscribing, you'll be the first to know when we release new content and you'll have access to all of our past episodes. We also encourage you to visit our website at mindsensei.au, where you can find additional resources related to martial arts. On our site you can read blog posts, videos and learn more about the guests we feature on our show. Finally, we'd like to thank our guests for sharing their knowledge and experience with us. Without their generosity, this podcast would not be possible. Thank you again for listening to the Mind Sensei podcast Down Under. We hope that you continue to join us on this journey through the world of martial arts.